And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, zpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. If you're watching the video, you did, in fact, see me take a swig from my hydro flask, look at my shirt, and then go, these are the same color. I think they are. They're mostly the same color. Some type of seafoam green or blue, whatever. I'm also colorblind. I'm not. Welcome back, 236 Constitutions Podcast. It's a website from C Plus Comedy, Premiere. So it's a website. Go there. I don't know the name of this show. I don't know anything that we do here. All I know is that sometimes I sit down. I hit the microphone. Sometimes I sit down, and sometimes I record a middling podcast for 3 people. Me. My stalker. Yeah, not even my stalker will listen to this. And Rebecca Kennedy from Peloton. It's Peloton homecoming weekend, and they have these different events and things, live shows all weekend long, and it sounds fine. But then you look at it, and they're just talking about stuff they've been doing all year. It's homecoming, and sometimes they have new announcements and things, new classes, new tools. They have a new rower coming out that they will not confirm, but they considerably they have so much hinting towards. What else is going on? What else? It's closing in on 2 minutes on this show. I gotta pad this out somehow. Now I got a lot of stories. Let's get to it. I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You know, I'm not a superhero movie person. I also saw Star Wars Rogue One. And again, I'm not a Star Wars person. I was never a Star Wars person. But I've been a superhero movie person a long time. And then eventually I just gave up because they're everywhere. And also, I'm stuck with this AMC A-list subscription where if you cancel, they have this enticing, on Christmas, they had this enticing thing. And I still think they're running the promotion where you get $1 for the first month. I think on Christmas it was $1 for the first 2 months, and then if you cancel after that, you can't sign up for 6 months. It's ridiculous. I get why they do that, but it's ridiculous. So now I'm being charged $23 a month. That's on top of my other subscriptions. I'll go to the movies left and right. Riding on my bike, just like see a 6:30 movie and then get back home at 9 and go to bed so I can go to the gym in the morning. Although that movie ended at, I think, 8:50 something. So, 6:15 to 8:50 something. And 30 minutes of trailers, I looked at my watch. I was like, tap, tap, tap. Where? Come on. It wasn't this watch. It was a different one. But, same thing. Say, the Notion is still the same. Speaking of Notion, I use Notion as my note taker for this podcast. Much more powerful than Google Keep. And since the iPad's being used, I can't use notation. No, Notability. Notability is what I use for the iPad and the Mac. And then Notion is what I use for everything else. And then Keep is for quick notes. So there you go. That's everything I use. Anyway, Doctor Strange, it was fine. It's very much a second movie. I don't know if I know everything that was going on, and I think they were trying too hard. And there's a lot of exposition, but it was bright. I'd never seen the first Doctor Strange. Actually, no. Someone tried to show it to me, and I was not having it. Years ago, when they first came out on like streaming or not streaming, but on Blu-ray. The ability to buy it is what I'm saying. And someone tried to show it to me, and I was just like, I don't want to see this movie at all. Like, I'm done with superhero movies. I'm sick of this. And then I think maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, somebody asked me to watch it, and I sat down, I watched it, and I said, all right. I finally saw it. And it's still, I was not tantalized by it. The second movie, fine, whatever, it does its thing. I think the problem is with these movies is that they have to set up these worlds, and like now they've I think now people are saying that, but like they have to tie into everything to set up these worlds. They have to nod back to 30 other movies. Oh well, the only experience I have with the multiverse is because Spider-Man. Like, there's a line like that, and it's just. Ugh. Anyway, that's what happens when you have these things. Let's go on to the first story. The YouTubers are not okay. This comes from Vox, written by Rebecca Jennings. Prominent YouTubers keep quitting the platform and then coming back. Call it the result of YouTube brain. So YouTube, like every other social network out there, and I guess we could call it one, YouTubers are having this issue of, when you get really, really good at doing something. Like if you get I've done news time for 8 years now, 8 or 9, I don't know, who cares. I've done hundreds of episodes of news time, and I know the beats I want to hit. I know how the episode's supposed to look, or even when I go outside the box, that's what an episode generally comes to what it's supposed to look like. Same thing for a TV show like The Goldbergs. I love that show to death, and I'm so glad it got renewed for the final 10th season because it cannot last past that because they've built themselves into the 80s. But every single episode is the same. There's an A story, there's a B story. There's two characters in the A story. One character at the end of the Act 2 always gets mad at character number 1, and storms off. And then in Act 3, everything concludes with an 80s song, and they always say something like along the lines of, you were my best friend, and I can't believe I took you for granted, or I love you, Mom. I just wish you would just not be so clingy all the time. Things like that. And that's how Goldbergs is all there. I don't think there's one episode that ever eschewed that style. If you hear diners, drive-ins, and dives on the TV, it's Friday. Okay. So, with that said, YouTube brain is what Ms. Jennings is calling it. It's the same thing of Twitter brain, or TikTok brain. You spend too much time on one platform, then you start writing like it, acting like it, doing all that, doing the trends and whatnot. And the creators that she's referring to, people I don't know, but these people are experiencing that, and maybe it's a sign of mental instability. No, it's not. But these people are seeing that, and they feel themselves getting trapped and sucked into this form of creating things that just doesn't feel like them in the long run. And we've got people like she writes about Shane Dawson, who used to be a vlogger. Is he still a vlogger? And then he got in trouble in 2020 for doing racist things, as all white men should. And also Nick Cannon is up there too. And then he took a 15-month hiatus, and then he came back in October 2021 with a video called "The Haunting of Shane Dawson," and it has more updates and ghost theories. Anyway, but in order to see this in action, you can see, if you want a really good understanding of, or a hyperbolized version of what this is, there's an SNL sketch that has Daniel Kaluuya in it that he did with Kyle Mooney called "Viral Video Apology," and I think they've done this twice now one more time since that. But it is very much like we're gonna do pranks, and then it turns into this real thing. And if you really want to get a sense of where they're coming from and all that stuff. Anyway, it's what she's getting at in the short of it is that there's a lot of people doing things on YouTube that it becomes part of their lives, and maybe don't necessarily believe it in the beginning, but then they start believing it. It's influencers doing stupid things, and it doesn't really fit their personalities. But yeah, so anyway, YouTube brain is real, just like TikTok brain. You can, like those girls that are saying, oh God, what is it called? They're seeing videos of people with oh God, what is it? They had on TikTok, they're seeing videos of people with tics, and they're moving their hands, and they're Tourette's. They're seeing people with Tourette's, and then they're developing Tourette's on their own because they're watching all these videos of Tourette's, and so it's it's a form of that. Or Twitter being racist. Hey, Elon Musk. This next one comes from Ariel Shapiro over at The Verge. Bill Simmons is getting a huge promotion at Spotify. He gets a big promotion, is what she said. I said huge. Any Hoosers. Spotify has been changing up this podcast approach in the past couple of months. Actually, in the past couple of years, they bought Gimlet and The Ringer, which Bill Simmons was in charge of The Ringer. And now Spotify, after losing a bunch of top execs in the past month, Bill Simmons is going to stay around, and he's going to double down on that job. Spotify. Nova's meowing because she's ready to eat because it is time for her to eat. Spotify. The Ringer. Excuse me, Nova. The Ringer is boss, Bill Simmons, is going to be heading the international sports brand of Spotify. Yeah. Spotify inked a deal in March with FC Barcelona for naming rights to their stadium and to appear on their jerseys beginning with the regular 2022-2023 season. Sports are big for Spotify CEO Daniel Ek. He unsuccessfully tried to buy Arsenal FC last year. I remember that deal. As the company branches out into global sports coverage, more soccer content seems like a given. While Simmons steers Spotify's international sports content, he will also remain the head of the Ringer. So he's going to basically be pulling double duty, which I can only assume is going to more meetings. Not really doing much. He's going to more meetings and spearheading and shepherding things along. I don't know what CEOs do. Do they actually type things out and like send in faxes? But Spotify's taking this seriously. The sports thing, at least. I don't know what they're going to do. Is it going to be live sports streaming? Is it going to be audio sports streaming, like how SiriusXM has dedicated channels for the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Mavericks and the Falcons and the Braves and the Hawks and what other team do I follow on there? The Clippers. You gotta get the most out of this stuff. And they're gonna keep brokering big deals like this or making big deals like this. I can't see people wanting to go to Spotify to watch. In order to watch soccer right now, you either have to have cable, and you can't just have one thing. You gotta have multiple things. So you have to have like Fubo TV. You can get soccer on NBC, Fox Sports South, as well as the regular broadcast channels. Then there's also Paramount Plus, which has exclusive rights to some leagues, and then there's Peacock, which has exclusive rights to some leagues, and then there's ESPN, and who else has it? I think HBO Max might be getting it at some point, but I'm not entirely sure. So everybody's got their hand in that international pie. And I don't know if this is a lucrative idea for Spotify to chase after. I'm trying to have a soccer analogy. They're heading down the pitch, and they're gonna go for the goal. Let's go on to the next story. This comes from Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. PBS Newshour set Succession pass for Judy Woodruff. So this is something I don't tell a lot of people. I watch, so I'm going to tell all 7,000 of my listeners. Oh my gosh, guys. Anyway, Judy Woodruff is an elder statesman when it comes to doing the news, and she's been with PBS NewsHour for I think since 2016, or she's been doing it on her own since 2016. And she and Gwen Ifill, who was just another stalwart in the public news land. Phil is what I was going to say, but land. They both hosted. They were named co-anchors and co-managing editors in 2013. But Judy Woodruff is the host of. I watch PBS NewsHour every day, at least 4 or 5 days a week, at 6:00 when it comes on, and I quite enjoy the show. It's a very baseline news. It's not very entertaining. It can be very boring, and quite frankly, I can fall asleep during episodes, but I gotta make dinner. But now it has been rumored. This is not official, but that Judy is going to leave in early 2023, and Amna Nawaz and Jeff Bennett are going to be the double anchors. Jeff Bennett hosts the PBS NewsHour Weekend, and Amna, whom I love dearly. I love seeing her. She hosts when Judy's not there. She's also essentially the lead correspondent. But this is great news for PBS NewsHour, keeping it diverse. And they have they're both great people. But Judy is about 75 years old. And she's basically going to carry through this to the midterms. And a lot of people her age tend to mull changes in their career. Andrea Mitchell, also 75, not only contributes to a variety of NBC News reports as its chief foreign affairs and Washington correspondent, but holds down a weekday hour on MSNBC. Leslie Stahl, still, he's 80 years old, still hosts, excuse me. That's very rude. Leslie Stahl is a woman. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of somebody else. Leslie Stahl is 80 and still continues to hold down the 60 Minutes for it. Lorne Michaels is 77, and he's got SNL presumably until that ends. When I was reading this earlier this week, I feel so bad for calling Leslie Stahl a woman. I mean a man. Damn it. Lorne Michaels. I have this theory that SNL's in its 47th season, and he basically told all of the current cast members to stick around until 50. I have this theory that one of two things might happen. SNL is very popular, and it's kind of like a stalwart on I love that word, on NBC's schedule. No one's been able to topple it, and even if ratings waver, it's gotten a second life thanks to YouTube and TikTok and online, being online, period. I think that he will retire no matter what at 80, just to get to 50. I think he will retire, and then he will wait a minute. Oh, the Simpsons are at 37 or 30. Yeah, 37. Okay. Or 34. Okay. I was trying to think, like, are SNL and the Simpsons the same age? But no, they didn't start in the 70s. Oh God, I already hate watching this first two seasons now. It's very true. I don't like watching the first two seasons of the Simpsons. Although FX, they air the episodes basically from the FX and Freeform and everybody who airs Family Guy, The Simpsons, and Bob's Burgers, including Cartoon Network, they all air them from episode 1. And Comedy Central, they do this for Seinfeld and Friends and The Office. They all air episode 1 to episode, the last, or the most current thing they have. And it pisses me off. Just do blocks. I know how programming works. I work with programming. I've done this for years. Just do blocks. Blocks are easy. You have all these episodes of The Simpsons. You have all these episodes of Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, Friends, The Office. Just do, this is Michael's craziest stunts night. Oh, here's a Mother's Day marathon for Marge and Lois and Linda. It's ridiculous. Just do themed blocks. You don't have to do episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. It's insane. Nobody watches like that. I've seen all those shows enough to go, yes, this is The Office and this is how it's supposed to happen. This is Friends. Oh, Ross and Rachel aren't dating. Oh, Joey's got a job on Days of Our Lives. Oh, Chandler and Monica sneaking around. Now they're not. Phoebe's having babies. Her brother's babies. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I know, I have all of the streaming options. I have every single streaming option. But I also have YouTube TV. And you can hear diners, drive-ins, and dives right now. Sometimes I just put it on. I just want to listen and watch. I don't want to have to choose an episode. So listen up, everybody. Stop playing episodes 1 through whatever. Just go. Just give me what I need. Give me blocks. I work in television. I know how it is. Anyway, I think Lauren is going to retire at 50. At 50 seasons, when he turns 80, and then the rumor, which is unfounded, and I don't think is going to work out, is that he's going to pass off the show to Kenan Thompson, which I don't think is going to happen. But I do think it won't be under one person. It'll be under like a team of people that he really trusts. And I quite like that. There's also, and we're done with this Judy Woodruff story apparently, but there's also the Second City put up a they got back together, and this comes from the Chicago Sun-Times. I swear to God, if this is under subscription, Second City came back, and they now have an advisory board, and the UCB has generally the same thing. UCB, oh God, Upright Citizens Brigade, I guess is what I should Google. Upright Citizens Brigade. They were in the news recently. But you might know that the past couple of years have not been good for the Upright Citizens, for what's it called? Improvisational company. Improvisational comedy, and either the heads of the Second City, like the heads of these improv companies, were found to be like mistreating people and taking their money for no reason, or just being like racist or sexist, or just being bad at running the companies, and they had to shut down a bunch of theaters and everything. And truly, I've done episodes of News Time on, I've done episodes of the Constitution on, just go look it up. But they're now coming back, Second City and UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade. And Upright Citizens Brigade was run by Matt Walsh, Amy Poehler, Ian Roberts, and Matt Bronger. And then Second City was run by a bunch of other people whose names I could care less about. But we know that our favorite comedians have come out of these places, and now they're going to be run by those comedians. People who or not run by, but people who can point them in the right direction for what comedy should be. And so this comes from Chicago Sun-Times, written by Daryl Jevons. This is something I just thought of, and this is off the cuff. Look, I'm very flexible. So including big time famous people and regular time kind of famous people, we've got Stephen Colbert, Steve Carell, Dwayne Colbert, who's not related to Stephen Colbert. In fact, Dwayne is black. Tina Fey, Keegan-Michael Key, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jane Lynch, Tim Meadows, Peter Murrieta, Susie Nakamura, Catherine O'Hara, Sam Richardson, Jeff Richmond, who is Tina Fey's husband, I believe, and Jason Sudeikis and Robin Thede. They're all coming in to help be the advisory board for the Second City, the artistic advisory board. So they're going to be able to not do the day-to-day stuff, but to whenever something needs to happen, or like just something needs to be decided upon, they will, or they just need to help point the company in the right direction for diversity and for being funny in general. So that's nice to see. And then we also got Mike Rowe from LAist wrote, Upright Citizens Brigade sold, reopening under new management. And we will see. I remember seeing the memo that Amy Poehler and the guys wrote, facing about the problems they had over the past couple of years, and it was just like a generalized, we're excited to see where they take this, and the blah blah blah. So anyway, we couldn't handle it ourselves and all that stuff. So it's good to see Second City and Upright Citizen Brigade go to different ways. Okay, let's go on. Let's continue moving. I want to jump ahead to this story. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter, Alex Weprin. Crackle owner Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment to acquire Redbox. I did not know Crackle was owned by somebody else that wasn't Sony. I've been thinking it was Sony for I guess as long as it was Sony. But now Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which is, yes, based on the book series, has a $375 million all-stock merger that includes the assumption of Redbox's $325 million debt and $50 million in Chicken Soup for the Soul stock. While there's no indication that the DVD kiosk will be disappearing in the near future, in fact, the company's touted future growth in DVDs thanks to a slate of big-budget blockbuster movies this year. In a statement announcing the deal, Chicken Soup for the Soul indicated, can we just call him Chicken Soup? The deal was really about further expanding its footprint and free ad-supported streaming video. So Crackle is free. You have to watch it with ads, and it is. I think I mentioned this last week. The worst app, the out of all of them. Tubi was in the free sector, and Pluto's in the free sector as well. They're both in the free sector, and now we have Amazon Freevee. The thing is, two of those, all three of them are Freevee is run by Amazon, so it's going to have at least a decent base, even though Amazon Prime is the worst out of all the premium streamers. And then Pluto has really stepped it up in the past couple of years. And when Fox bought Tubi, I mean, it just became better acquisitions for them as well. So I don't understand why Crackle is so bad, so stinking bad. But Redbox does have a streaming platform, streaming service, and you can go onto the Redbox app and you can rent movies. And I think you can even buy them. And the same thing for the AMC Theaters app. You can buy movies on the AMC Theaters app. I don't know why you would, because it does not connect to Movies Anywhere or Vudu or anything. So don't buy your movies there. Buy your movies on iTunes and Redbox and Vudu and Google Play and Amazon. Don't buy your movies somewhere where it's going to be locked into an ecosystem like that. It's ridiculous. And so now, Nova's coming over here again, and so my guess would be that with the people who already use Redbox and who consistently use it, because internet is still not available. I think the infrastructure plan was signed into effect with the internet, and Comcast and Google and AT&T and all those people are going to get together and do and try to provide internet to the middle Americas where it's hard to get high speed internet. But I can only assume that Redbox DVDs are still doing well in places like that. I know there are parts of Atlanta where there are a lot of kiosks, and I think there's only one near me at Pond City Market, at a CVS at Pond City Market. And I used to love Redbox. I love it so much because it was just easy to go there, pay $1, rent a movie, pay $5, rent a game. Watch it, play it, and then do whatever. She just bit me. Yeah, I know. She's very hungry. I'm trying to rush through this. Don't worry. So, if anything, I think what they should do is merge the Redbox streaming. They should merge Crackle into Redbox streaming. Do not use Crackle. They should merge Crackle into Redbox streaming. And it's the only place you can watch The Critic, which is insane. I was thinking about The Critic earlier this week, and I Googled it. And guess what? It said Crackle. And I was like, no, I'm not going to watch it on Crackle. Then I tried to buy the DVDs, and I couldn't. I tried to buy it digitally, and it was too expensive. Anyway, I do see that it's going to... Hold on, let's see. Chicken Soup for the Soul, meanwhile, has reoriented itself around streaming through Crackle, which it acquired from Sony in 2019. Oh, and Popcorn Flicks. Now it is betting that Redbox nascent streaming offering, combined with its loyalty program, and yes, the DVD kiosk, can propel it forward to the streaming market, saturated with increasingly expensive paid offerings. Even in a recession, the CEO said on a conference call about the big deal. I would think, do what HBO Max is doing, put everything into one, and then, go off by name there. Redbox is a good name, and I still like Redbox a lot. I haven't been there in years, and I have no reason to, but I do appreciate what it's doing. All right, let's go to the next thing. The CW. Oh, that's why I structured this like this. Okay, all right, well, this one should have came first. The CW had a bunch of cancellations recently, and we can blame it all on, they say, this is coming from Leslie Goldberg, but she says streaming. I say blame it on corporate. But I love corporate. I love the corporate structure. I love it so much. Please keep me. Mad about the CW's cancellations, blame streaming, but also its unusual corporate structure. So CW came about in 2006. Obviously, it was a joint venture. Not obviously. It took over the spot for the WB. I love Michigan J Frog. How is he racist? I don't know. Anyway, took over for, and don't send me letters, and he took over for the UPN and WB, and it's owned by Warner Bros. TV and CBS Studios. It was a good way for them to just basically dump shows that nobody was, that would get like a decent following, but nobody was going to be ravenous over. But they did have shows people were ravenous over. They had shows like the Vampire Diaries and Riverdale and a show I was ravenous over, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. But a lot of these shows have been canceled. They canceled more than 10 shows and renewed 8 as its total volume of originals slid to its lowest level since 2012. Which is interesting because they did just expand to 7 days a week of primetime programming. So take that as you will. But Viacom, CBS, and now Warner Bros. Discovery are basically calling it quits. They're looking to sell the network And as it stands, they are canceling. CW is like, all right, we need some money, and they had to cancel a bunch of shows, including 3 DC shows that it canceled. But I guess it picked up the Flash for one more season, which I can only assume is going to be his last, because I don't think anybody likes doing that show anymore. And they picked up Gotham Knights and one more show, I don't remember. But they did cancel Batwoman, Legends, and the other one. There's one more. Anyway. CW was never profitable, but it made money in foreign sales and with that Netflix output deal, wherein that after 2 or 3 weeks after this, 2 weeks after the season ended, like a season of the show ended, those shows would go to Netflix. But now they're all going to other places. The DC shows were probably going to HBO Max, and the other shows are probably going to go somewhere else. Yeah. So then why did the CW clean house this season? The blame isn't squarely on CEO Mark Pedowitz. I do like Mark Pedowitz because he did give Crazy Ex-Girlfriend all 4 seasons that it needed. Broadcast's long-running tenured network topper reports to a board comprised of execs from Warner's and CBS Studios, who for years have played a vital role in programming decisions. For example, while Dynasty has had the distinction of being broadcast's lowest-rated scripted series for years, revenue from the reboot's international sales and the Netflix deal kept it on air for far longer than its linear numbers deserved. So after 5 seasons of living life on the bubble that included a wild history of casting changes, why did time run out on Dynasty and so many other CW favorites? And the foreign sales are a big thing, because if you have a show, let's say you have a show from Israel, or if you have a show from England, from jolly old England, oh my governor. You have a show from over there. I'll do an Israeli accent next, in private. You have a show from those areas, India, from South Korea, North Korea. What does a North Korean import show look like? That was a Family Guy cutaway. You missed it. Anyway, but if you have those shows and they do super well over here, like a show like This Way Up or a show like Catastrophe, then it's lucrative to have those in your back pocket on your streaming service or on your network. And the same goes, for American shows overseas. Brooklyn Nine-Nine does well overseas on Netflix, and shows that are on Hulu here do well on Disney Plus, Hotstar over there, what have you. Okay, so blame streaming and mergers and the CW's impending sale. So it's an amalgamation of those 3 things that pretty much anybody who's been paying attention can definitely see. The Warner's wants to put Warner Bros. Discovery wants to put. I did not roll my eyes. I enjoyed it. Warner Bros. Discovery wants to put all of their shows on HBO Max, and then Paramount wants to put everything on Paramount Plus. Did I say Viacom CBS earlier? They changed their name to Paramount. Like, I know I've discussed this, but anyway. Okay, so most of the originals that got the access here were shows that long outlived their welcome and would have been canceled at networks that weren't governed by 2 studios who were making money on them. So if Nexstar buys the network, it doesn't matter if shows like Dynasty make money for the studios, because it doesn't rate on linear. It doesn't have a lot of viewers. If it has less than, the CW has less than 2 million viewers for every show. It used to be 11 million per, not just for CW, but for like everything. Friends, you would see like in Seinfeld, you'd see like 16 million if you look at old ratings and things. And then if a show dipped below 10, then that's when it would be canceled. And now it's just like you're lucky to get 3 for The Simpsons, lucky to get 5. Oh my gosh. Anyway, sources say so shows that were canceled include Legends and Legacies, along with Charmed, In the Dark, Roswell, New Mexico. They were all part of the Netflix output deal, and since that deal is essentially over, axe. And I don't think the Charmed reboot. I don't think the original actresses liked it in the first place. It's not like they weren't. It's because they weren't asked to be a part of it. They never said anything racist because it was a diverse thing. But they definitely were not asked to be a part of it, and they took to Twitter to let you know. But now there's 3 new series pickups, including Gotham Knights, Walker Independence, which is, I guess, a spinoff of Walker Texas Ranger, and a supernatural prequel called The Winchesters. But all 3 of the CW's 11 scripted shows, but 3 of the CW's 11 scripted shows, The Flash, All American, and Riverdale, will be able to stream on the CW's website and streaming app. Sources say the network's robust streaming platform has been the particular interest of the CW suitors, including Nexstar. I wouldn't say it's robust. CW, and it's 2 different ones. It's CW and CW Seed, and I just don't. Using 2 different apps is so stupid. And I think you switch between both sides of the app. Anyway, it's very dumb. Like, imagine going, I want to watch an HBO show, and then having to physically go to a switch, like, because you're watching a Cartoon Network show, and then like press a switch on the thing, and it goes bloop bloop, and now it's on the HBO side, which I understand that it could be a menu thing, but still, anyway, it's stupid. Affiliates have complained for years about the CW's increased digital presence, as companies like Nexstar do not receive revenue from those platforms. However, should Nexstar actually own the CW, that's digital money in the bank. It also doesn't hurt that the CW's foreign acquisitions, featuring the likes of Patrick Dempsey, Brendan Fraser, and Freddie Highmore, and unscripted fare like Whose Line Is It Anyway, and all those comedy shows they have, which suck, also have stacking rights lined up at CW Seed. In short, it's all part of Warner's and CBS Studios cutting bait in an effort to make the CW more appealing to would-be buyers. So, yeah. And also CW Seed and CW app are free, but there's no point in watching it. I mean downloading it all. Okay, so now continuing on with the streaming thoughts. This one comes from Caitlin Huston over at The Hollywood Reporter. Netflix tells employees to quote, spend our members' money wisely, in new memo. And the memo is a memo about culture. It's so, like, it doesn't make sense. Netflix was on a spending spree for the past 10 years for this stuff, and now they're like, okay, maybe we should tighten the belt because we're being kind of stupid. This is what happens when we throw paint at the wall for so long. The employee directive comes in an updated culture memo by the company Thursday. Under the judgment section of the memo, Netflix tells employees to spend our members' money wisely, phrasing that the company used in the 2018 letter to shareholders, but has not formalized for staff until now. In this same memo, they go, but avoid rules, which this is so stupid. Netflix attributed a 200,000 subscriber loss to account sharing and the pandemic and increased competition from its rivals, but they are basically having trouble landing everything. And now we've got an ad-supported section of Netflix coming later this year. It was supposed to be next year, but it might be coming sooner. Okay. Here's the thing. And I mean, I guess it's because I'm a person who has, again, YouTube TV, and I don't mind ads. Listen to podcasts, there's ads and stuff like that. But if there's too many, there's an issue. Netflix is the biggest streaming company, probably one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. It is allowed to have, if it wants to do ad-supported stuff, then let it have ad-supported stuff. You don't have to pay for it. That's why you pay for the better version. If they want to do, if the cheapest tier they have is $5 or $8 for the ad-supported, and it's ads, and you get like one ad before a show and one ad after a show or one ad during a show, by all means, whatever. You're spending $5. You don't have to. They give you the options. Peacock, Paramount Plus, they give you the options to spend, and HBO Max, they give you the options to spend more money. If you don't want to spend more, then buy it. Buy stuff. If your problem is watching ads and something's free or cheap, and you're like, I can't do this, then you need to worry about other stuff than doing the ad thing. Okay, she's crying. I gotta hurry this up. So Netflix, Nova, stop. Come here. Netflix says this talk of cutting backs is not Netflix said this, but the talk of cutting back on costs has caused worry among employees at Netflix who have seen a slowdown in hiring and fear future layoffs. I you know, I don't know if Netflix has always been the same size company it's always been, but it's it's interesting to see the like even the biggest company in the world, including Disney, struggle with the things that their adversaries would usually have to deal with. Yes, Nova, you're gonna get fed in less than 10 minutes. So yeah, I want to see how they navigate this, and I think it. In fact, I don't think it comes from cutting back on shows and everything, and movies and such. I think it'll come from not wasting time on acquisitions. Don't try to buy Seinfeld or Friends or any of that stuff, and really putting time and effort into what you have. It shows that were canceled, like Meghan Markle's show Pearl. That show, you put Meghan Markle's name on it, it's still. I think it would have pulled in a lot of viewers who just like her, and if you can double down on what you have now and say, okay, Lock and Key, that's a show that people seem to, instead of just canceling things for arbitrary reasons, like it wasn't talked about on Twitter for 3 days straight or something like that. And yeah, so anyway, not everything is going to be Stranger Things. They should really start understanding that not everything is going to be like the other shows that they have. Sometimes things are just going to have cult fandoms, like oh God, what is that show that the Matrix people did? Sense8. Like Sense8, they canceled Sense8, and there was a fervor because it's an LGBTQ show and a darn good one, but it was like a good sci-fi show that people really loved that had a lot of representation. Then they cancel it, and then everybody, there's an uproar for it. People signing petitions and everything, but then they made a movie. They said, all right, you know what, we'll get you to be able to finish this in the movie. Just ridiculous. But continuing off of streaming, this comes from The Hollywood Reporter, written by Alex Weprin, J. Clara Chan, and Caitlin Huston. Streaming TV's next battlefront: free services seize their moment. Oh God, this is really struggling, man. I'm worried about Nova. I gotta finish the show. The show is more important. Just kidding. Could Netflix's pain be someone else's gain? A number of entertainment companies are counting on exactly that. I'm reading the article because I don't speak like this. As consumers grapple with higher subscription costs and with more subscription video offerings than ever, these companies in the free ad-supported streaming space, also known as FAST, think their time is now. I'm talking about things we already noted. Pluto TV, owned by Paramount. Tubi TV, owned by Fox Corp. Freevee, owned by Amazon, and Peacock's free tier, which is owned by NBC Universal, as well as Roku channel, which you can only get if you have Roku or if you have a mobile device or the internet. You can't. There's no app. Anyway, the services have a lot of stuff on offer, and you know what? Some of them, including Amazon Freevee and Tubi and Roku, they have their own programming as well. You can watch a Bosch sequel series on Amazon Freevee. You can watch all of the Quibi stuff on Roku channel. You can watch that cartoon show where Pete Davidson and Woody Harrelson and John Goodman, they're cartoon characters in Get High or something. So you can watch all of those shows on those free streaming streaming platforms, and all you have to do is deal with like 2 or 3 minutes with ads. Like a regular TV used to be. And it's a way those make for a good way to not just like the shows, the originals and movies and stuff like that, but it makes for a good way to reach. Being free makes for a good way to reach people really wouldn't get. Tubi says it's reached 51 million active users. Pluto says 67.5 million users. Roku says 80 million by the end of 2021. I don't know if that's true. For Roku at least, because I can see Tubi and Pluto TV being used. I can see Pluto TV being used because Pluto TV is quite frankly just amazing. With the exception of, I think every time I log in via Xbox or PlayStation or Google Chromecast or the iPad or my phone, every single time I'm logged into it, it logs me out no matter what. Free streamers, flagship arsenals. So there are standout series on every single one of these platforms. For Freevee, there's Bosch Legacy, but there's Bosch Legacy. There's Bosch Legacy, but there's also Judy Justice, which is the next Judge Judy show. There's also a show called America's Test Kitchen, The Next Generation. Now, I watch America's Test Kitchen. I did not know the show existed. I will not use Amazon Freevee, though, or Amazon Prime. Peacock, for now, has Yellowstone. I think after... and Bel Air. I think Yellowstone will head to Paramount as soon as they possibly can. As soon as Paramount can get it. Pluto TV's got entire CBS catalogs and classic TV shows, as well as Star Trek, which is, I think, on every streaming service. And then Roku. Roku's got the Quibi stuff, including Kevin Hart's Die Hard and Martha Stewart and Emeril Lagasse programming. Okay. And then Tubi's got the Freak Brothers. That's what that show is called. But it also has Fox shows that you can find for free, like The Masked Singer, on Tubi. 34% of this is found by Deloitte, which is a analyst company. Found that 34% of U.S. consumers would prefer a free streaming service that had 12 minutes of ads per hour. By contrast, only 25% of consumers say they prefer a streaming service that cost $6 a month but had 6 minutes of ads per hour. It's funny, people spent the past 10 years trying to get away from ads, and now they're jumping back on like, oh, well, if it's cheaper, it's free. Well, yeah, that's the direction it was going in the first place. And you know, Amazon is promoting Freevee like constantly now, even though they changed the name from IMDb TV to Freevee, and which is a stupid name, but it's and same thing for Roku channel. Roku's been, you know, spearheading new shows, new movies for this, and they're really looking into how, again, I think it kind of goes back to, and you know what? Yeah, I think it goes back to like middle America, where there are still red boxes and people are ready to, they're not ready to give up DVDs because they don't have the internet infrastructure. But then again, if those same people don't want to spend $15 a month on HBO Max and they don't want to spend $20 a month on 4K, you know, Netflix streaming, and all they can afford is, you know, or even want to buy. It's not even about affording. It's about wanting to buy. Like they want to get Disney for their kids, and they want to get the $8 streaming in Netflix because they're the only person who's going to use it. And then they go, okay, well, here's Peacock is free and Tubi is free, and I have a Roku, so my Roku channels, I got that stuff, and then I got whatever Pluto TV is. They're spending less than $20 a month, and so that is where that can go. That's where that niche fits in. There's a different levels for everybody. Not everybody's going to spend an untold amount of money on streaming services every month, but you know, there's people who just want to, you know, just watch Sanford and Son, or Sanford, the sequel series to Sanford and Son, which is a real show and it's not good. Sanford and Son's great. Sanford, not. Because Son left. Majority of direct-to-consumer value at Paramount remains with Paramount Plus, while Pluto, as well as Showtime, showed, quote, softness in their net user ads of the first quarter. Pluto TV viewing hours have gone up. Freevee's got original movies. We're just seeing increases year over year, and it's great. Listen, if you like what you heard here, do you want to hear more of me talk about this? Head on over to the website, cpluscomedy.com. You can see me talk to your favorite comedians and comedy-adjacent people. I'm double-checking to see if I actually have... There's a couple of interviews supposed to be set up. But I don't think it's happening this week. It'll probably happen next week because today is Friday. Any hoosers, head over to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where I do all that stuff. If you want to see a video version of this show, youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You can see me. You can hear Nova in the background. You can hear Diners, Drivers, and Dives. You can see those Tide Pods I just bought on my kitchen table, along with my multivitamins, which costs $30. And you can see a shirt that my friend bought me for Christmas one year. As well as News Time, which is our premiere show. I promise there are 2 episodes literally just sitting on my computer that I need to put out. And also I have 2 episodes I need to write and shoot. So hopefully by Monday next week. We'll see what happens. Those will be out. But yeah, anyway. And one was time sensitive. One was the Met Gala, but whatever, who cares? Any Hoosers, Instagram, Twitter at C Plus Comedy, Facebook. Wait, Instagram and Twitter at Chat Black White. Facebook, there's a group. Like us on Facebook. Rate, review, subscribe to this show wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I already armed the recorder, so this is going out now. Here we go.